Am I worried about ICP? Absolutely not, even though nothing I say is financial advice. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, why would you even say that? I mean, take a look at the last time ICP was at the price of around $3. Oh, wow, that was back in 2023. Totally aware of that. But here's the thing. The way you take a look at it is this. Back then, when I was talking about ICP at around $3, right? Back in October, let's say, at around that price range. Soon after that, and I'm talking about 2023, it had a really good rally, right? The price went to over $18. Now, granted, it's back to kind of $3 again, but when ICP had that good rally, a lot of my friends were telling me, I cannot believe we ignored ICP at around $3. But then those exact same people who told me that, they're now ignoring ICP yet again. Now, I am not telling them to do anything, by the way, and even though nothing I say is financial advice, I'm still thinking about the idea of $100 in my mind, and I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. But here's the thing. If I'm looking to dollar cost average, right, and ICP is now back at that around $3 price range again, I don't know why I'd complain about that. Personally, for me, ICP, I think, had that pretty good rally to over $18 not too long ago, or actually it was kind of a while ago in the grand scheme of things, but still, kind of relatively speaking, not too long ago, right? It's kind of like, for me, seeing how ICP did that with an altcoin season. And then now ICP is back at around $3 again. I'm just like, wow. At first glance, it may seem like not such a positive thing because it's like, wow, I can't believe the price is around $3. But now, because it is around $3, when it comes to the idea of $100, it's currently now over 30x from here. So, yeah, that's the way to take a look at it. ICP went to over $18, right, without an altcoin season. And that is just pretty fascinating, the way you take a look at it. So what could it do during an altcoin season? Only time will tell, but if it did maybe better, it wouldn't surprise me. Now, if I take a look at people like to say, oh, why don't you just give up on, ICP and all this? Let's just think about this, right? The internet computer, I think, fundamentally is better right now than before. Now, people may be thinking, how does that make sense? The price went down. Totally aware of that. But that's not tied to necessarily the fundamentals in this case. If we take a look at Caffeine AI, right? Self-writing apps platform. The way you take a look at it, this could maybe help developers moving forward, use AI to help build applications. That's pretty impressive. Now, it's not like every developer is going to use that, but I'm just saying, that's still pretty interesting. We take a look at how, Bitcoin DeFi is gaining somewhat popularity, and that is supposedly powered by the internet computer. So, when I take a look at something like, ICP, I don't know what bad thing happened to it fundamentally, right? Now, price-wise, it's not doing the best, but imagine if ICP was above $10, and there was a lot of talk, let's say, about, Caffeine AI and all this type of stuff, and, Bitcoin DeFi. It would be a totally different case, right? The sentiment would be completely different than right now. But then the thing is, just because, the price isn't doing good, that type of stuff, it really isn't that talked about in the grand scheme of things. And we take a look at the Solana and ICP integration. Just all this stuff right here really gets me excited about the fundamentals, and I just don't want to give up because when I was believing in ICP before, it's a lot more difficult, right? Because when I first believed in ICP, there was nothing really for me to kind of say, hey, recently ICP kind of did this amazingly well. There wasn't really anything I could go off of. I'm still going to be dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting because I feel like it was a lot more difficult for me to kind of even believe in ICP back then, even though I still did believe in it, right? But then as of right now, I've already kind of seen what ICP did, a glimpse, right? And that was without an altcoin season. So this is why I haven't given up. When it comes to the internet computer, people like to say, oh, no one really cares about this and all this type of stuff. Well, here's the thing. If let's say there's an altcoin season, things could be different because I've seen, how the internet computer, supposedly, the average cost per instruction is over 40 million times less expensive than Ethereum. And again, that's supposedly. So when I take a look at something like this, I just don't view it bad fundamentally. I get it, again, the price isn't doing the best. But if I'm giving up at points when the price isn't doing the best, and I don't think I've seen an altcoin season yet, I don't know why I do that. If I've already seen an altcoin season and then ICP just kind of did nothing, then that's a different case, right? But then I haven't seen altcoin season during this cycle. I am not telling them to do anything when it comes to ICP, but my point of view is that I am simply not just going to give up when things aren't necessarily looking the best. Like, it just makes no sense for me to do that. I still believe in the fundamentals. I haven't given up when it comes to this space, and I just want to stay patient. I just want to wait it out. I'm just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. You know, $100, right? Market cap at that point would be around 54 billion. And ICP, I get it, hasn't maybe had the attention of a BNB, but then if we take a look at BNB, back in 2021, even back then, even though it reached a new all-time high during this cycle, whereas we take a look at ICP, it hasn't really been doing the best, but still despite that, BNB back in 2021, even back then, again, right, reached a market cap of over 100 billion. So pretty much like double this. This is just my point of view. I just don't want to give up, because if I take a look at, for instance, the progression, and also when I take a look at the amount of holders ICP has, when I take a look at the exposure, when I take a look at the listings, it just doesn't feel like a bad project to me. It just feels like it's a project that's caught up in a moment where altcoins are not necessarily doing the best, and a bunch of altcoins are actually not doing good whatsoever, right? So then ICP is no stranger to this. The space is not doing good as of right now, or should I say not doing the best when it comes to altcoins. Even Bitcoin as of right now is having a pullback. We've seen kind of the big caps do pretty okay during this cycle, right? Like for instance, BNB reaching a new all-time high, Ethereum. But we haven't seen it kind of trickle down, I think, at least as of late, to something like, you know, an ICP, for instance. Or let's say, again, some of those kind of pretty okay sized market cap projects, but not too massive. We haven't kind of seen it trickle down to that in a massive way yet, in my opinion. Now, only time will tell if it will ever even happen. But then I just feel like the roller coaster ride maybe isn't over. You know, this is the way to take a look at it. I'm still staying patient. I don't think this cycle is over, hypothetically, yet. I just don't have that belief. And I'm still staying patient, because what it looks like right now, it could be different months later. It's like, for instance, again, you know, when I take a look at ICP back in, you know, around October in 2023, who knew a month later it was going to do that, right? I was believing in ICP, but I didn't know it was going to do that like that, you know, at that moment, I should say. So what's to say maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months later it could be different? Who knows? This is why I'm still staying patient, and I just don't want to give up. Whenever an altcoin season happens, that's beyond my control, but there's one thing I can do, and that's control myself, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay patient and just wait it out. And I want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a nice day. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.